With free agency just around the corner, things around the league are certainly going to be heating up for sure. As teams will be trying to gear up for the next season with signings, there's bound to be additional trades coming our way as well this offseason. In this video, I'm going to go through and give my final thoughts on a few free agents and some opinions on players who could be traded as well. And with that, here are 6 players who could be on new teams very soon. It's no secret that Vladimir Tarasenko is unhappy in St. Louis. In fact, if we were to just rewind a bit, I would say he's been unhappy with the organization for a hot minute. Aside from the injury fiasco, I think most of us can recall that last offseason, Tarasenko's reaction to Ryan O'Reilly receiving captaincy over him. Therefore, after everything that's transpired between number 91 and the Blues, I'm sure at this point in time both parties are ready to part ways for good. And for Doug Armstrong, I think the realization that the previous 40-goal scorer is on his way out the door has resonated, as he recently acquired Pavel who is a proven goal scorer in his own right. Now, as free agency approaches and GMs begin cementing their lineups, one that most likely will have his eye on the forward is Lou Lamoriello. Prior to the deadline even coming about last season, there seemed to be a constant theme for the Islanders, as in a need they had for a top caliber player who could play alongside Barzal on the top line. With Anders Lee coming back for the Isles this season, there's still a vacancy on the right side, as Jordan Eberle was selected by Seattle. Eberle, who had no problem finding the net, notched a total of 76 goals as an Islander spanning over 4 seasons. With that being said, knowing the need is there and the potential for Tarasenko to be an Islander, in my opinion, is pretty high. Even though he would command a 7.5 cap hit for the next 2 seasons, Lou has already been busy clearing cap space for something, as we saw Nick Leddy's and Andrew Ladd's contracts fall off the books. Therefore, while taking all of this into context, it's seemingly a no-brainer that Tarasenko will be an Islander here shortly. Despite an off-season last campaign with 14 points in 24 games played, it's very possible that with a clean bill of health and a fresh start, that Tarasenko will find his game once again. Recently, news broke that Ryan Suter and Zach Parise were both bought out by their longtime franchise in the Minnesota Wild. Despite Parise likely going off to Long Island to reunite with Lamoriello, it's becoming increasingly possible that Suter won't be following him. The 36-year-old has proven recently that even at his age, he's still able to eat a good portion of minutes and contribute to an extent offensively. Suter, who will still be getting paid handsomely for quite some time, will most likely be more interested in winning than making more salary. As according to Cap Friendly, number 20 has already earned over $100 million throughout his lengthy career. Therefore, this points to the possibility that Suter will be seeking out a team that has some strong potential to capture a cup in the near future. His agent, Neil, has also echoed the fact while saying, quote, "Ryan's objective is to win a Stanley Cup." Even though the Boston Bruins were recently tied to Suter, according to The Athletic, the Bruins are going to have to seek out a left-shot D-man elsewhere as contract talks fell through. Another possible cup contender that Suter could sign with is the Colorado Avalanche. After trading off Ryan Graves, Colorado could see Suter as some insurance for the blue line. Even though he wouldn't be on the top power play unit, and most likely on the second pairing, the lesser responsibility could prove to be just what Suter needs in the end. Now, if you thought you wouldn't be hearing about a potential MarcAndre Fleury reunion happening from me this offseason with the Penguins, you definitely thought wrong. After the possibility for the Flower to be dealt to Windy City has seemingly fizzled out, knowing that Vegas was trying to move one of their tendies here recently, the potential is still there, as GM Kelly McCrimmon will be aiming to address a glaring need for the Knights this offseason, as a first-line center position will be the top priority. But with cap space a glaring issue for the Knights at this point, moving Fleury's contract would allow for some adequate cap space to work with. And for Fleury, who does have a modified no-trade clause on his contract, is going to have some say about where he ends up. Fleury, who is coming off of his best career season with impressive numbers that earned him his first Vezina trophy, will be able to offer any team he lands with not only his on-ice services, but also the intangibles that his personality provides as well. With that being said, knowing that Fleury wants to retire with Vegas, if his hand was forced in the end, in my opinion, his second favorite scenario would be to retire as a Penguin, as number 29, who was drafted by Pittsburgh first overall, was a fan favorite for over a decade in the Steel City. And knowing that the Penguins do have a need in net, bringing in Fleury would definitely help Ron Hextall gain some popularity amongst Pens fans, this one included. The only real hurdle he would have to face, however, would be how to make room for Fleury's $7 million cap hit, as he would likely have to give up something of value. Trading off Zucker for some picks and taking the netminder's contract with salary retained might be a couple things that could make it work. With free agency quickly approaching and things reportedly going sour between Colorado's captain and with the Avs, it's very possible that we could witness the Swede in a new uniform next season for the first time in his career. With that being said, it's pretty much common knowledge at this point that the St. Louis Blues have had interest in the forward for quite some time, as Landeskog, who brings that power forward mentality to the ice surface, would fit in nicely, as the Blues are known for their hard-hitting style of play that focuses on wearing opponents down with grit. And number 92 would not only bring physicality, but also a great net front presence for the man advantage. Landeskog, who has notched 20 or more goals in his last 5 consecutive seasons, would not only just fit in, but would also be able to help remedy the Blues' biggest struggle last postseason, scoring goals. Having him on the first line with former teammate Ryan O'Reilly probably is something that Blues fans could get used to pretty fast. And yet another player who has been unable to settle on the right dollar amount with his club, Dougie Hamilton, has most likely already played his last game for Carolina, as the right-shot defenseman is coming off an impressive 42-point season in 55 games played, including 10 goals. Hamilton, who knows his worth, wasn't in the market to take the Torrey Krug type of deal that GM Don Waddell was reportedly offering. After seeing up-and-comer Carr's recent contract paired with veteran Seth Jones's deal, both valued at $9 or more million AAV, the defenseman is most likely going to be demanding similar money. As many teams currently in the flat cap era can't offer him what he's worth, one that definitely stands out that could meet Hamilton's asking price is the New Jersey Devils. The Devils, who unfortunately haven't gotten what they expected from PK Subban, haven't had a top-tier guy on the back end for quite some time. The Devils, who are a very young team, especially after letting go of Kyle Palmieri and Travis Zajac, could not only use Hamilton's skill set, but also the leadership he would bring as well. And it might just be a remedy for New Jersey's lackluster penalty kill as well. Speaking of Carolina, after parting ways with Calder nominee Alex Nedeljkovic, Don Waddell, when asked by The Athletic on what he'll be looking for in net this free agency, replied with, "I think we're looking more toward the veteran side of things," he says. "We're in a win-now mode, and having a veteran goalie makes the most sense for our franchise right now, so hopefully that's the direction we end up in," he says. This paired with the fact that, according to TSN, Anderson, less than 48 hours before the deadline, has yet to receive any sort of proposed offer from his longtime team, Carolina could very well be interested. Anderson, who had a rough go of it last season while battling injuries, is coming off of his worst season statistically, while sporting a below .900 save percentage and nearly a 3 goals against average with 2.96. Despite this though, prior to the off-season, Anderson proved to be largely consistent in Toronto and Anaheim as well. The 31-year-old, who has playoff experience, would offer any interested team some added stability in net and could easily take the starter role. Carolina, who will most likely be moving on from Peter Mrazek, is going to have a vacancy in net that neither James Reimer or Jonathan Bernier will be able to fill alone. And knowing that Hamilton won't be resigning in Raleigh, the Canes theoretically would have the cap space for it.